the midst of so much of this despair, there are heroic moments, teams rescuing people caught in the floodwaters via helicopter. Marissa Johanson is with us. She's a flight nurse. You've been involved in countless search and rescues. Talk about what's happening in these aerial rescues and now in day 5, how critical timing is.
Well, at this point in day 5, I would not expect for a great deal of alive people to be found. However, if somebody is going to make it, it's usually somebody that's young. So a kid might make it, a young person might make it for a few days. There have been other cases of disasters in the past where that has happened. As far as what I do, I have not been as involved in search and rescue, but I do medical flights for injured people. We have been called for a few search and rescue operations over the years, and basically what that entails is we are summoned by our dispatch, who is responding to a requester from the ground, usually fire, sometimes highway patrol or a sheriff's department, and they're not able to get to terrain that we can overfly and look for whoever is missing or injured. So in this case, that's probably what's going on, is they're just looking for help over the whole area, the bird's eye view, looking for any indications that there's human remains or a live human down there, such as clothing or that kind of thing. It is a gruesome task, and my heart goes out to all of them.
Marissa, how are flood rescues different than other disasters? You know, the aftermath of a tornado or a hurricane, when you have this much water and debris, how does that complicate the search?
Actually, quite a lot. It makes for a landing zone search that's very difficult. We cannot just set the helicopter down in anything that's boggy. For example, this spring I had to fly out to a ranch to pick up an individual who had become ill out there, and sometimes they will do flood irrigation to irrigate their pastures, or it's just springtime and things are still wet. And in this case, I believe it was the latter. And so we had to be very choosy about where we put the helicopter so that the skids didn't sink too far down into the mud and make liftoff difficult. The other issue that is present is that there's often a lot of loose debris, which can become flying objects that can be sucked up by the rotor wash into the rotor system and damage the helicopter, making it unflyable. Also could bring down a helicopter if it has not quite touched down or is in the process of lifting off. Those are both extremely dangerous situations, and we can't have that. The last thing is the pilots need to be very careful, and most helicopter pilots that I've ever flown with are extremely careful. This is all they do for their living, and they're very meticulous and methodical about checking the weather. So they will get as much good weather, reliable weather information as they possibly can, up to and including getting live weather reports from people on the ground, firefighters. They'll ask for a few pieces of information, and then we check as we're coming in for our final before we land to ask about ground conditions.
Wow. Incredibly skilled at every level in this difficult task. I'm Marissa Johanson, flight nurse. Thank you so much for your time and perspective this morning.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.